Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Nero and today I want to share with you my Saheeli Radiant Creature commander deck. Saheeli might be the strongest energy commander that we got. We had Satya from Modern Horizon 3 and Madison Lee from Fallout, but none had access to green. And green right now, if we are not talking about CDH, is a very strong and maybe also uncontested color in the lower in the other brackets. A little disclaimer, since this is an energy deck and we saw a lot of them this year, I'm gonna focus on explaining the new synergies that Saheeli unlock, the scope of the deck, rather than showing every old energy card. By the way, the list is gonna be in the description for you to delve even more into it. It's gonna be on Architect, that I think it's the best site to display your commander decks, because you can divide everything into little columns into what they do. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into this deck. First of all, our commander, Saheeli Radiant Creature, is a 4 mana 4/4. That said, whenever you cast an Artificer or an Artifact spell, you get an energy counter. And this is a good ability, but it's not the most important. The second ability, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 3 energy counter, and when you do, you create a token that's a copy of a target permanent. Every permanent you control, except it's a 5/5 artifact creature, in addition to its other type, and you're gonna sacrifice it at the end of your turn. Now, I was talking that we have this commander in green, and that is why she is very strong. We're gonna build this deck in a ramp way, but it's gonna be very different from most of the ramp decks that you see in Commander, because we are not gonna play any Rampant Grow, any Netherlore, any Farseek, any Cultivate, no. Our ramping is gonna be synergistic with our commander's second ability. I'm gonna explain. Let's see. We have 6 cards in the deck that does the same thing, and that thing is a ATB go fetch for a basic land. A basic land is gonna be the theme of the deck. We are running more than 30 basic land, and the other are fetches, surveillance, and shock lands. That is very important because these 6 cards, all of these 6 cards, are gonna ramp us basic lands on ATB, on attack, and on leave the battlefield. This is something that we have to look for when we are building with Saheeli, because if we want to maximize the value that we get with Saheeli, we have to choose to copy permanents that have ATB, attack, and die trigger. The more a permanent have this kind of characteristic, the more value we want, the more value we're gonna have. So let's start with the ramp. We got this beautiful artifact, for example. Enter the battlefield, you're gonna fetch a basic land. It leaves the battlefield when you sacrifice it, it's gonna fetch you another basic land. Same thing as Lumbering War Wagon. You can enter the battlefield, fetch a land, attack, fetch a land. And then we have Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Same thing, enter the battlefield, you create a land token. You're not gonna fetch it, but it's a redundancy. We love a redundancy. And when it attacks, we create another land token. Then, very sad for me, we have to wait another 2, 3, maybe 4 months before Prime Time is gonna be unbanned in Commander. In the meantime, we're gonna play Primeval Herald. Same thing as a Prime Time, just a little bit smaller. It's enter the battlefield, search your library for a basic land, attack, search your library for a basic land. So every one of these 4 cards, we're gonna fetch 2 land every activation of Saheeli. Or also you can think about 3 land. You can play one of these cards, you can fetch a land, you activate the effect ability on combat, you create the token, you're gonna fetch another land, you're gonna attack, and you're gonna fetch another land. There are 2 of these 6 cards that are way more powerful than the rest. And those are Gold Vein Hydra. This is not only because this is basically a 2 mana ramp engine. The only difference is that the ramp that the Gold Vein Hydra make is token mana. It's not permanent mana like a land will be. But this is very nice because you can play this for 2 mana, and the turn you can play Saheeli, you can already pay the 3 energy that you acquired somehow. The deck is full of way to acquire energy. But if you copy the Golden Hydra, the Golden Hydra enter the battlefield, like the copy of the Golden Hydra is gonna be a 5/5. It's gonna attack. At the end, it's gonna sacrifice, and you're gonna create 5 treasure token. And this is already an insane amount of value for just 2 mana and 3 energy. But we can do way better, and that is the next card I'm gonna show you. It's why I decided to build the deck in this way, and is Rampant Rejuvenator. This card is from a precon, I think it's from a Neon Dynasty, a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It's the modified precon. Basically, it's a 4 mana 0/0 that when enters the battlefield, you get a 2+1 counter on it. The important effect is when this card dies, you can search your library for X basic land cards where X is its power. So, like, the best turn that we can have in when we are talking about ramping for this deck is a turn 4 Rampant Rejuvenator if you had a turn 3 Saheeli. And if you have a Rampant Regeneration and you copy with Saheeli, the new Rampant Rejuvenation copy is gonna enter as a 5/5 plus 2 1/1 counter. It's gonna be a 7/7, and when you sack it and end of turn, you're gonna ramp 7 land on the battlefield. 7. And those land are gonna come into play untapped. So in a deck that is very heavy on blue, we have a lot of instant. We have a big amount of instant, so we can also protect our board after ramping this much. Also, all this ramping that we have in the deck, it synergizes very good with the new cards from the precon. That is landfall energy generation. So we already do the ramping part, and now we also generate energy from the ramping that we are doing. The biggest card, of course, is Nissa. That is a new one. Landfall is a 4 mana 3/3 landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you get 2 energy counters. So every land you're gonna add 2. It's gonna be very easy to activate Saheeli. But also being very powerful Nissa bring redundancy, because we already had a way to create generating energy by ATB lands, and therefore with Architect of the Untamed and Royal Cartographer that also help you draw cards. Now that we have 3 of this creature, the synergy is way better, because we can reliably do it. Now that we explained a little bit of ramping and new way to acquire energy, let's see new way to draw cards. Drawing cards in this deck is very fun. We don't have a lot of drawing cards outside of classic energy cards, but we have new way to draw cards. For example, we have Champion of Wits. When this creature enter, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do discard a card, basically this is a 3 mana, draw 2 cards, discard 1 card. But if you copy Champion of Wits with Saheeli, this is suddenly became a draw 5 card, discard 1 card. That is very nice. The same thing we can say about Thought Sponge. So this is a sponge. This already should be the only reason to put it in the deck, okay? But with Saheeli is just another draw 5 card, because it's a 4 mana 1/1 creature that says when it enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counter on it equal to the greatest number of cards an opponent has drawn this turn. We don't care about that. That is just a little bit more value, but we don't care. When Toadspot dies, you draw equal cards to his power. It's another champion of wits. It's basically draw 5 cards. I really like this synergy. So we are more incentivized of like running synergistic card draw rather than classic way to draw, like it's gonna be like a Glimmer of Genius or Tune the Narrative in energy deck. We can try to use something different. Another card, a new card from the Precon that gonna help us draw a lot and also generating a big amount of energy is Pima Trailblazer. This beautiful Loxodont. It's an elephant. It's gonna be a Loxodont. It is a 3 mana 3/3 with trample, and whenever it deals damage to a player, you get that many energy, and that is already a good one, because if you copy with Saheeli, it's gonna be a 5/5. It's gonna gain 5 energy token. I maybe said treasure. Okay, energy token. And it has a very good exhaust ability. You don't have to pay any mana. You just have to pay 6 energy counter, and you can put 2 +1/+1 on this creature, and then you can draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. If you made a copy of the Pima Trailblazer with Saheeli and you connect, you can activate the exhaust ability of the token and draw 7 cards. I think that these 3 card effect for drawing are insanely good. Like sometimes opponent don't see it coming, and you drawing 5-7 card in a deck that basically want to ramp 7 lands on turn 4. It's insane. Also because remember, every time we take out a land from the deck, in our case like minimum 3 lands from our deck every turn, we are also increasing the quality of our top decks and our other card draw. So this is very, very synergistic. Other than card draw and ramp, we also have other permanents, new permanents that we can try to put in these energy kinds of deck. And are these 3. Imposter Match, first. It's a 2 mana vehicle. It's a 2 mana blue vehicle. It's a 3/1. And you may have Imposter Match enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature an opponent's control. Except it's a vehicle. So basically, what this does, it grants you the ability of copying with the Saheeli ability opponent's creatures. So this is very good. Also, it's different from another copy stuff, like it should be like a Phantasmal Image, because the Imposter Match being a vehicle, it dodge removal way better. So Imposter Match is that card that can enable us to maybe try to copy some creature in black and white color with effect that might benefit us. Imposter Match is the only one that I will run in a deck like this. Also because it's an artifact. In this deck, thanks to the first ability of Saheeli that care about artifact, it's very important to have Imposter Match over a Phantasmal Image or something else. The artifact synergy is still very important. Another card that I really like to copy with Saheeli is Smuggler Buggy. I think that no one ever played this card, okay? In Saheeli, it's nice because people don't see it coming. You can play the Smuggler copy. It's a 4 mana vehicle. It's a 4 mana 5/5 vehicle that has a Hideaway 4. Basically, it enters the battlefield. You have to look at your 4 cards on top of your library, choose one, and when the Smuggler Buggy deals combat damage to a player, you can cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. The only cost that you have to do is taking the smuggler copy to your hand, back to your hand, okay? So basically, you copy the smuggler buggy with Saheeli, you connect with one of your 3 opponents, you basically take the token back into your hand, and you cast something else. In this deck, we are ramping, so we don't have like a mana problem, but it's very nice to have the ability to just cast stuff for free, because the classic energy generation and classic energy engine are very big. For example, Aether Refinery is 6 mana, Aether Flux Contact is 6 mana, Gonti Aether's Art is 6 mana. So there is a lot. There are basically 4 6 mana spell in the deck. You want to have something for free, and the Smuggler Cop Buggy is very good for that. Another card that I am really loving in the deck, it's Threefold Thunderhulk, another bulk rare that it's working very good with the activated ability of Saheeli, because it make it be a 5/5. Like, when building this deck, I was trying to focus, like I said before, on attacks enter the battlefield and leaves. The more a card has this characteristic, the more synergistic it's gonna be. But there is another thing to look at it. Like, what happened to cards that which power scales the more its power is. Oh my god, sorry, I butcher the entire English language. But Threefold Thunderhulk is one of those cards. Basically, it enters the battlefield with 3+1 counter, is a 0/0 for 7. But when it enters the battlefield, you create a number of 1/1 colorless artifact, important, equal to its power. So basically, this enter the battlefield as a 3/3. It's gonna create other 3 artifacts. For 7 mana, you're gonna have 4 artifact creature entering the battlefield. That is gonna be very synergistic and value for you, because you have decoction module. Every time a creature you control enter, you get an energy. You have Gonti. Whenever an artifact enter, you get 2 energy. And if you copy the Threefold with the Saheeli, you're gonna get an 8/8, because this is gonna enter as a 5/5 with 3+1 counter on it. It's gonna be an 8/8, and it's gonna create 8 1/1 colorless gnome artifact token. So you can go literally insane. I was trying to find other creature that became better, not for enter the battlefield attack or other thing, but just for synergistic power value, because transforming some, like the Threefold Thunderhulk is basically the same synergistic that we found with Goldvein Hydra. Those 0/0 card that when we pump it at 5/5 with the token, they just become better. And Threefold Thunderhulk is very nice. It's gonna help us a lot, not only to create a board, but to synergize with the energy creation of the deck. How do we win? We have all this beautiful synergy. We are gonna win with the infinite combat phase. Of course, we are a stompy deck. We want to punch our opponent to the face until he concedes or until his life is down to 0. So, to do that, we have the classic Lightning Runner, basically classic energy card. But what is better, I think, with Saheeli is Grim Reaper Sprint. This is a card from Fallout. It's a 5 mana enchantment aura that says the spell costs 3 less to cast if creature dies this turn. It has Morbid. And when enters the battlefield, untap each creature you control. If it's your main phase, there is an additional combat phase after this phase. So, enchanted creature get +2/+2. It has haste, that is cool. But the cool synergy that we found with the Grim Reaper Sprint is that usually cards that give you extra combat step are on attack trigger ability. They are not on a ATB. Like, using the Grim Reaper Sprint in this deck that already have a lot of way to doubling entering the battlefield trigger with Panharmonicon and Virtue of Knowledge, using the Grim Reaper sprint, that means that you can attack, maybe trigger like main phase, combat phase, attack, maybe a creature die, and you can in the second main phase play the Grim Reaper's sprint and start going insane with how many combat phase you can do. I think the Grim Reaper sprint is insane, this deck. Having the ability of Saheeli to copy any type of permanent make it that Grim Reaper sprint is one of the best win condition in the deck. The other win condition is either Revolt, but it's very slow. We're gonna create an insane amount of energy, like every energy deck do, but I prefer the combat spec. The combat spec is a little bit more fun. It's way more fun. Okay, last synergy that we can talk about, it's trying to copy the ability of Saheeli. The way that I found that it's most work better is by this 4 card. Panharmonicon, Virtue of Knowledge. Those are gonna doubling the ATB of the token that we create, and also all the other energy generation, and Sundial of the Infinite and Esoteric Duplicator to have a way to gain more value from the token that Saheeli give us. For example, with Esoteric Duplicator, at the end step, when we're gonna sacrifice the token that we created with Saheeli, we can just pay 2, and at the next end step, we create another of those tokens for free. And let's not forget that those tokens are 5/5 artifact creature tokens, so they can put up a beating. The other artifact is Sundial of the Infinite. This is basically one of the top-notch artifacts that you can have in a red token generation, because a red token generation always have that little quirk that you have to sacrifice stuff on the end step. Sundial, for 1 mana and tapping, you just end the turn. You're gonna keep the token that you create. I prefer the Sundial of Infinite to Strionic Resonator, only because it's a little bit more cheaper. And also the Strionic Resonator make you have to pay 6 energy, and the Sundial let you just pay 3, and that's why that's the important. That's important is just being fast, able to do it, and not worry about mana or energy to do the stuff that we want to do. I'm gonna finish this video just putting down a little bit of spice, because this deck, the 4 times I tried with my playgroup, turn 6-7 I had 16-18 lands on the battlefield, and spice, man. Doppelgang. Put a Doppelgang in the deck, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be super fun. Super fun. The last part of the deck, it's all Counterspell, Blasphemous Act, Chaos Warp. We need interaction. We need interaction to survive, and Cyclonic Rift, of course. And the best interaction is the one that make you reach your next turn. So you want to counter a very big commander that you don't want, Strix Serenade. There is a wipe, an offer you can refuse. Very good. There is another permanent. There is a creature that you don't want to see on the battlefield anymore because it's a hate bear for you. Reality Shift. Perfect. It's all the other thing. It's all counter, all removal, and of course there is a Hullbreaker Horror as a late game combo energy, because you can just bounce artifact, replay the artifact, and you can generate an amount of energy just to do all the stuff that you do. I hope, boys, that you enjoyed this deck, and I hope you build it, because I am having so much fun with this deck. Energy in green is where energy want to be. And if you have any suggestion on creature that have entered the battlefield and attack triggers, or enter the battlefield and leave the battlefield triggers, feel free to comment down below, because I want to know more about this deck. This deck is so fun to play. We also have the sponge. Come on, this deck is so fun to play that if you have any suggestion, I'm gonna take it. And thank you for listening. It's 20 minutes, and see you next time.